he went on to say that even the land is being blessed. Their crops in that area are growing larger and a faster rate than the other
Selv
areas.
deres områder, deres land, der vokser
Yes, thank you,
afgrøderne
Jesus.
hurtigere på grund af Jesus.
And how did it come?
Og hvordan skete det?
Because we tried to reason with someone to come into the kingdom?
Fordi vi ligesom prøvede at overtale nogen til at komme ind i riget.
It's not an either or. I'm not against that. Please understand.
Det er ikke et enten eller, jeg er ikke imod det.
But it came because someone got delivered of a demon and somebody's knee got healed.
Men det kom, fordi en blev sat fri for en dæmon, og et knæ blev helbredt.
They moved from a -100
De flyttede sig fra minus 100
to 0 in an afternoon.
til 0 på en eftermiddag.
Now, the gospel was spoken, and Randy, gave them the implications.
Så evangeliet blev prædiket, og Randy han gav dem ligesom
And that's what I'm saying,
implikationerne i
is
det.
we need to do the same thing as we go about our lives.
Vi skal gøre det samme, når vi går igennem vores liv.
Now, let me just close out with this.
Så lad mig afslutte på den her måde.
When I talk about this, I'm not talking about striving to do something.
Når jeg snakker om det her, så er det ikke om, at vi skal
I'm
stræbe
not always
efter at
sure I
gøre nogle ting.
communicate this point clearly.
Jeg er ikke helt sikker på, at jeg altid får
I'm
forklaret det
talking
her
about
godt nok.
letting it be a natural part of your life.
Jeg snakker om, at det skal være en
And
naturlig
the
del af dit
only
liv.
way you can do this is if you just let the life of Jesus flow through you.
Og den eneste måde, du ligesom kan gøre det på, det er ved at bare lade Jesu liv flyde igennem dig.
It's like letting Jesus live his life through us.
Det er ligesom at bare lade Jesus leve sit liv igennem os.
You and I are the hands, feet, and voice of Jesus.
Du og jeg er Jesu hænder, fødder,
So we get up in the morning.
og vi rejser os op om morgenen.
Good morning, Jesus.
Godmorgen, Jesus.
I'm your hands today.
I dag er dine
I'm your
hænder,
feet
jeg er
today.
dine fødder i dag,
I'm your voice
jeg er
today.
din røst i dag.
Set up divine appointments.
Bare sæt guddommelige møder
I'm
op for
going to
mig.
pay attention.
Jeg vil vise opmærksomhed.
I'm going to wake up and pay attention.
Jeg vil vågne op og vise opmærksomhed.
And I'm going to meet every one of those divine appointments.
Og så vil jeg møde hver eneste af de her
And
guddommelige
then you go
møder.
about your life.
Og så går du ud i din hverdag.
So letting Jesus flow through you
Så lad Jesus bare flyde
is the
igennem
way to
dig.
make that happen.
Det er den måde, du får
Let me
det til at ske
illustrate it
på.
this way
Lad
with one
mig
more story.
illustrere det på den her måde med endnu en
Matthew
historie.
chapter 15, we're familiar with the story. I
I
won't read it.
Matthæus 15, vi skal ikke læse historien.
It's about the Canaanite woman
Der står der om den kananitiske kvinde,
following after Jesus.
som følger efter Jesus.
Lord, son of David, have
Øh,
mercy on me.
Søn af David, have barmhjertighed mod mig.
She's crying after Jesus.
Så hun råber efter Jesus.
Lord, son of David, have mercy on me.
Vis barmhjertighed mod mig.
And the disciples get tired of her following after them.
Så disciplene bliver lidt træt af, at han følger efter.
She had a demonized daughter.
At hun følger efter. Hun har en datter, der var
And
dæmonbesat.
so the disciples come to Jesus. Say, send her home.
Så disciplene kommer til Jesus og siger, send hende hjem.
Now, there's some stories in the Bible I don't really understand.
Der er nogle historier i Bibelen, som jeg ikke helt forstår.
When I read this story, it doesn't sound like Jesus to me.
Og når jeg læser den her historie, så lyder det ikke helt som
You
Jesus for
know, I
mig.
mean, I have this image of Jesus.
Jeg har ligesom det her billede af
So
Jesus.
the words that come out of his mouth, they're not like I imagined, other times in the scripture.
Så det er ikke helt det, jeg forestiller mig, Jesus han vil sige.
But he had
som andre
something in
gange.
mind, and here's what he said.
Men han havde ligesom noget på
Well,
sit hjerte, og
at
her hvad han
first,
siger.
it said Jesus did not answer a word.
Og først så står der, at Jesus han sagde ikke et ord.
And then he answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel,
Og så sagde han, jeg er kun sendt til de fortabte for Israel.
which means I wasn't sent for you.
Og det betyder, at jeg var ikke sendt
I
for
was
dig.
sent only to the lost sheep of Israel.
Kun til Israels fortabte får.
But the woman came near and knelt,
Men hun kom tættere på, og hun knælede ned.
and she said, Lord, help me.
Og hun sagde, Herre, hjælp mig.
He replied, it is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to their dogs.
Men han sagde, det er ikke rigtigt at tage børnenes mad og give det til hundene.
Her need was greater than her potential for offense.
Men hendes behov var større end hendes at ligesom blive fornærmet.
Does that make sense?
Giver det mening?
She didn't get up offended and walk away and say, how dare you?
Hun rejste sig ikke op fornærmet og sagde, hvor våger du at snakke sådan til mig?
Well, if you came up and knelt at ministry time and I looked at you and said, called you a dog, I mean, would you stick around for me to lay hands on you?
Hvis du kom op og lagde dig på knæ, og jeg kaldte dig en hund, vil du så fortsætte med at blive der, indtil jeg havde bedt for dig?
Well, if I came up to you for prayer
Hvis jeg kom op til dig for
and
bøn,
you said, you dog, just wait a little bit,
du sagde, din hund vent lidt,
you wouldn't be there when I turned around.
så vil du ikke være der, når jeg vendte mig rundt.
It's not right to take the children's bread and toss it to their dogs.
Det er ikke rigtigt at tage børnenes mad og give det til
And she
hundene.
says, but even the dogs eat the crumbles that fall from their master's table.
Men så siger hun selv, hundene spiser krummerne, der falder ned af mesterens
And
bord.
her daughter, back home was healed.
Og hendes datter i det øjeblik blev
Now,
helbredt.
hold on to that.
Hold fast i den.
Here we have Jesus and the woman in the region of Tyre and Sidon.
Så her har vi Jesus og kvinden.
They're in that one location.
De er på det her sted.
Use your imagination.
Så prøv at forestille dig din
And way over here on the other side is, say, Philippi or Rome.
Så helt herovre på den anden side, der har vi Rom eller Filippi.
And there's another woman who has a demonized
Og
daughter.
der er en anden kvinde, der har en dæmonbesat datter.
She goes to her priest or priestess,
Hun går til sin præst eller præstinde,
except her daughter dies.
men hendes datter dør.
What's the difference in these two situations?
Hvad er forskellen i de her to scenarier?
This daughter dies.
Den her datter dør.
It's not a trick question.
Det er ikke et
And this daughter
trickspørgsmål.
lives.
Den her datter
What's the
lever.
difference in these two situations?
Hvad er forskellen i de her to situationer?
You don't trust me. I understand. Jesus was here, but he was not there.
Jesus er her, men han var ikke der.
Hold on to that.
Hold fast i det.
As I fast forward you to Brazil, I think 2003,
Og så spoler vi frem til Brasilien i 2003.
2002.
2002.
Bill Johnson had a brother, and his name was Bob Johnson.
Så Bill Johnson har en bror, der hedder Bob Johnson.
Bob Johnson was his name.
Bob
And
Johnson.
he did a lot of street ministry on the streets.
Han lavede meget gadeevangelisation.
We were in São Paulo in Brazil,
Vi var i São Paulo i Brasilien.
and so he was taking a small group on the streets to minister to the
Og
prostitutes.
han havde de her ude på gaden for at, ligesom, at betjene de prostituerede.
Two of the girls ladies from my church,
Og to kvinder fra min
they
kirke.
went with him on that trip. Pat was on the with him, and Mike and Dina Van Hall, our missionaries in China, Pat and Villar. So there was a small group that went out to minister on the streets.
Så der var en hel gruppe mennesker, som var med ude på gaden.
And they came back so blown away and so on fire and so excited.
Og de var helt blæst væk og begejstrede over det, de havde set.
I wish I would have gone with them.
Og jeg ønskede ligesom, jeg havde gået med dem.
I didn't because I wasn't invited.
Jeg gjorde det ikke, fordi jeg ikke var inviteret.
But I wish I would have been on
Men jeg vil ønske, jeg
that
havde
little
været med
outreach.
på den her outreach.
I think it was a year later, 8 to 12 months later, we go again.
Og 8-12 måneder senere tager vi afsted igen.
When I get to São Paulo, I tell the ladies, I said, and Pat and Mike, let's go do what you guys did the last time.
Så når jeg kommer afsted næste gang, så siger jeg, lad os gøre det, vi gjorde
Now,
sidst.
I didn't know what they did, but I find out as we go on the streets to minister to the prostitutes.
Jeg vidste ikke helt, hvad de gjorde dengang, men da vi kommer ud på gaden for at betjene de
And
prostituerede.
so what we did is we went and bought these roses.
Det vi gjorde, vi gik ud og købte roser.
And now these girls were young. I mean, they were very young.
Og de her piger var meget, meget unge.
I was a little naive. I didn't expect the girls. Some of them looked like, now I know age is hard to judge, especially when it comes, or at least I've learned not to judge women's age.
Jeg har lært ikke ligesom at bedømme kvinders alder. Det er lidt svært nogle gange.
But it's a little safer when they're younger. They don't mind if you miss it a year or two.
Men det er lidt lettere, når de er yngre, så det er lidt ligegyldigt, om du rammer
But
1-2 år ved siden
some
af.
of them looked like they were 15 or 16 years old.
Nogen så ud, som om de kun var 15 eller 16 år
I was
gamle.
amazed at their age.
Og jeg var helt utrolig overrasket over deres alder.
There were 3 guys and I think 4 girls.
Der var 3 mænd og 4
Yeah, 4
piger.
men. 3 men and 4 girls. We were there, the men were there for protection.
Så mændene var der for ligesom at beskytte,
To make sure they were safe.
være sikre på, at de var sikre.
I was younger.
Jeg var yngre.
And was a little more scary
Og var
then.
lidt
but-
mere skræmmende dengang.
and so we were there just to watch out for them.
Så vi var der bare lige for
And
at
so
passe på dem.
our girls would take a rose
Så vores piger tog en rose,
and they would go up to one of the prostitutes
så ville de gå op til en af de
and
prostituerede,
they would hand them the
og
rose.
så ville de give dem rosen.
And they would walk through this journey about the rose.
Og så gik de hele rosens rejse igennem.
Not exact words, but they would say something like this.
Ikke de præcise ord, men noget lignende det her.
Isn't the rose beautiful?
Er rosen ikke smuk?
Smell the rose.
Lugt til rosen.
Doesn't the rose smell beautiful?
Dufter den ikke godt?
And they would talk about the beauty of the rose,
Så ville de tale om rosens
Just-
skønhed.
talking with the girls.
Snakkede med piger.
And then they would say something like this.
Og så ville de sige noget lignende.
And that is how your Father in heaven sees you.
Sådan ser din far i himlen dig.
Almost every one of those girls broke out in tears and began to weep.
Næsten hver eneste af de piger brød ud i tårer og begyndte at græde.
They didn't feel loved by a father.
De følte sig ikke
They
elsket af
didn't
nogen
feel
far.